right. Live. Fire away, Kai.
All right. Welcome, folks, to the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast, now live on YouTube and recorded on Apple iTunes, Spotify, all of that good stuff. Guys, this is episode 299 of our esteemed podcast. Hard to believe that next week will be number 300. I have no idea if we're going to do anything special for it, but maybe we just play the whole movie 300 and see if people notice. They'll definitely notice. It's not about college basketball.
No, we agreed we're getting 300 abs. So
300 abs.
Dial in. I've been hard at work over the weekend in Vegas trying to get those.
Yeah.
I'll do a few sit-ups tonight to catch up, but yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah. Vegas. Holy cow. Talk about the place to go if you want to feel like you're out of shape. I'm still in a massive haze from my 6 days there or 5 days there, whatever it was. Travel was a nightmare yesterday. My direct flight was canceled right before we're supposed to board, and then I had to get a change flight. It was a mess. I'm home in Chicago now, though. Matthew is back in California. Jim still in Vegas. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Still in Vegas, so that probably answers your question. Been here since Selection Sunday. Been on the Strip since last Wednesday, a full week. Hanging out for another couple of days here for the West Regional. I'm amped for some live basketball. Yeah. I had my dip, especially Monday, Tuesday. I'm starting to crescendo back up of excitement for excellent live ball. I'm not super jazzed about a Friday night Sirius XM show during the Sweet 16 games there, but you know what? Tomorrow night will be good. So Matt, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, Jim, you're built for Vegas. Like you just kind of have that stamina. You're hashtag built different. I think I went through 3 different bottles of lip balm while I was out there, and I came back and like the residue still is going. Just not quite cut out for it, Kai. But like Jim, had that little bit of a dip of like, my team's lost. Mm-hmm. Betting wasn't great, as it hasn't really been most of the season. So I was like, I'm kind of over this year. But then I just got reinvigorated by my Owls, just going all in on the Florida Atlantic thing. I was listening to some Dusty May content this week. So that's kind of the last beacon of hope I have for fun in this field. As far as FAU takes me, will be the extent of my fun and excitement. And then when they lose, I'll just muster up some BS stuff for the Final Four. But that'll be it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Vegas. Chapstick and moisturizer, hand moisturizer. It's dry out there, guys. Yes, apologies if our voices are strained. Not only were we on a bender for a long time, we've done 100 shows in the last week or so. So the voice is very, very tough right now, but it's going to be back on our own podcast here. We got Roots Roundup today. We're going to hit on some coaching stuff. There's been a lot of changes. A more meaty coaching carousel episode will be saved for the offseason, but we got to hit on a few of these. There's too much news going on. We've saw that, which will basically be our tournament reactions to this point. Anything we want to talk about that was pre-Sweet 16. And then we'll do a quick Sweet 16 preview for you guys. Just tell you what's out there, what we're kind of leaning towards, what we want to watch, that sort of thing. 3MW_CBB is where you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Go follow us on both of those. Please subscribe to this new YouTube channel that we have, Three Man Weave, and hit the like button if you come watch our live streams. That'd be very helpful. Appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to the podcast on Amazon and Spotify and Apple iTunes. Leave reviews if you would like. 5-star ratings are much appreciated. We have no new reviews, tear, cry, but that's okay. We're getting towards the end of the season. I understand, guys.
More pod time for content, Kai.
More pod time, indeed. Well, let's get into that pod, Jim. Let's start it with Roots Roundup, get into some news and notes.
Let's do it, Kai. It's time to talk Roots Roundup coaching news and notes. But first, we got to give a shout out to our good friends at Home Field, of which I'm wearing a shirt underneath here. You can't see it, but it's there. I promise.
And I'm wearing a Home Field sweatshirt right now for my Missouri Tigers because Home Field makes the best, hands down, collegiate apparel in the entire world. Schools of all sizes, Power 5 to D3.
All the way down to Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson, new release, Fairleigh Dickinson. They have shirts now. They're actually pretty dope. I'm considering it. I have spent most of my budget on Home Field stuff, so need to probably limit myself a little bit there. But yes, they have FDU now. They dig through years of archives of your school to find very cool designs, maybe some designs you've never even seen before, some quotes, some sayings that is very meaningful for your particular school. They put it on a t-shirt, sweatshirts, hoodies, what have you. It's all very comfortable, reasonably priced. And just all around nice guys, these folks at Home Field. They work out of Indiana in their own little warehouse, so to speak. They have a website, homefieldapparel.com. That is where you go to shop your school. Tons of schools to choose from. If they don't have your school, tweet at them, yell at them, but politely. Homefield APPARL on Twitter, at Homefield APPARL. When you do go to their website, you do pick your shirt, you want to check out, you want to buy it, use our promo code 3MW, 15% off your first purchase. That is Homefield, wear one for the team.
Homefield had a little bit of a rough go of it too, with Matt's Hoosiers losing to both the Miami men and the Miami women.
Bad for business.
Well, hey, you just released a couple of FDU lines, and they're gonna be hopefully, Matt, maybe some FAU stuff if they beat Tennessee. Ooh.
Hoot. Yeah, I can confirm. I checked 3 different sources. All Sweet 16 FAU gear is sold out. So yeah, we need like a secondary market for FAU Al gear. So yes, home field deliver.
All right, let's get into the news. That is basically coaching news. That's where we're going to start. Some big ones have happened since we last touched on this. Again, on our March Madness Marathon, we don't have time for Roots Roundup, so no news there. That means, yes, we still have to talk to Jim Boeheim in a second. But first, Ed Cooley is going to Georgetown. Whoa! Friar fans are in a tizzy. A lot of people making a scene of this, whether he stabbed them in the back, whether he betrayed Providence by possibly recruiting Eddie Lampkin before he was even at Georgetown, et cetera, et cetera. Kai, the first thing I want to bring up here is Friar fans were absolutely adamant that he would never leave. It wasn't going to happen. They raked people over the coals for months and months saying it wouldn't happen. Then it happened. They pivoted to raking people over the coals for defending Cooley for doing this and saying it was a total stab in the back. Where do you land on all this? It's a whole controversial thing. Which side, what perspective do you have?
Yes, I am also surprised that he took the job. I'll be honest, not having any insider information. It seemed to me he was Providence for life. I understand there's circumstances in his personal life that makes him want to go to Georgetown in general. I believe his family is living in DC, or at least some of his family. So that's understandable. According to Jeff Goodman and according to most people around basketball, Georgetown is a by far better job than Providence due to the recruiting availability, frankly, the quality of the school, the resources they have. Matt, Providence is no poor school by any stretch of the imagination, but Georgetown is the better job. I am surprised, given Matt, that he meant so much to the city of Providence, but you can't fault the guy. And I really have issue with Providence fans that dislike Ed Cooley now. That's a problem for me, Matt.
What? No, they have every right to be mad at Ed Cooley. You can't just...
He gave him 12 years of his life, and he's taking a great job for great pay.
I agree.
I just hate
think
that.
It's fair. It's asking a lot. It's asking a lot of the fan base to just be like, oh, okay, and just kind of move on like you have no emotion
Don't hate the
whatsoever.
Guy. Don't burn his jersey.
You don't have to, I agree. You don't have to go to like the extremes that we've seen the fringe people do, but I would wager there's a lot more Providence fans out there who we haven't seen on Twitter. Newsflash, Twitter only represents 5% of the actual population, and half of those are bots anyway. I bet a lot of Providence fans are probably just like, yeah, this really stinks, but I get it. I also think our colleagues, can we call them quasi colleagues, Jeff Goodman and John Fanta, in their Field of 68 After Dark stuff, I don't think they hit on the specifics of how it transpired and some of the back channeling that rubbed Providence fans the wrong way. So that's all speculative, but I think it's worth noting that I understand. I think the reasonable Providence fan who's mad has a right to say, dang, I didn't like how it went down. I just want people to call out how it went down, and it should have been done better and more above board. That's a fair Providence request, in my opinion. So
I don't agree.
My take is,
what's he supposed to do? Say in February, yep, I'm totally considering Georgetown.
Right. So
sorry,
my counter is all of these hires, because there's such a need to hit the portal immediately, you have to be in discussion. Like Grant McCassin last night, right? It comes out that he's probably going to be the Texas Tech head coach. He's about to coach a game in an hour. Like, you could argue, oh, that's so shitty, man. Like, but what is McCassin supposed to do? Like, he's not going to turn down calls until the end of the season. He's not going to not be on Zoom interviews, because if he does, he's 2-3 weeks behind people in the portal. I mean, Cooley's already got Lampkin. So I get it.
That's not for sure.
That's not for sure, whatever.
Also, I don't believe that he was recruiting for Georgetown in February. I don't believe that. That's speculation. I don't believe that happened.
Right. It is, but I also think it's just a function of the environment that we live in. And you kind of have to just be like so transparent with your guys to a point where it's like, hey, if an offer comes, guys, I'm in discussions. I want to break some of you. But I mean, you have to. It's a tough spot. It really is. It's a lose all the way around.
Matt, if you are going to break up with your girlfriend, you're not your fiance, we love her, Monica. Are you going to be like, hey, honey, just so you know, I'm starting to have doubts, thinking about a couple other girls, just letting you know, keep it transparent. Like that's what they want. Like what? No, no one's going to
apples
do
to apples, Jim. No, but in terms of,
it's not bad.
Similar.
It's not that similar. No, I don't like the apples to apples comparison there. Also, hey, communication in your relationships, guys, it's a good thing. Always be upfront, transparent.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Yep. End of the day, Ed Cooley is at Georgetown, and he seemingly trolled the fan base by saying it was divine providence that brought him there. I cannot believe he said that at his opening press conference. That is like the ultimate. That was the middle finger, and if you're mad at him for that, I get it, because I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
That seemed like a twist of the knife. I wasn't a huge fan there. We also have Rick Pitino taking over at St. John's. Big news in the Big East. So Matt, they go from Mike Anderson and Patrick Ewing to Ed Cooley and Rick Pitino. Pretty big upgrade in the Big East, hey?
Massive, some would say. I mean, Rick Pitino's what? Is he 70 now? How old is he? Wants to coach for 10 more years, he 70. Says. I think he is a instant jolt and rise in competitiveness, obviously, right? Like how good they'll be next year. We'll see how good they'll be in 2, 3, 4 years. I'm curious what this looks like in 5 years. You know, like Pitino gets him back on track quickly. Is he at the top of his game in 5 years, consistently rolling over talent? Maybe. It's probably more likely that he's not, but I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it plays out long term. You know, like, do you think Pitino's coaching in 2027 at St. John's?
Yeah, but it's like 5-ish. He basically said, I don't have a lot of time. I got to turn this thing around. Part of that was, I think, due to expectations. Part of that is because he's just not, he can't coach that long. But
yeah, I guess who cares, right? Like you're St. John's, why would you not get Rick Pitino? You've been a disaster for so many years. Get a guy that turns around immediately, and then you ride that. You see what happens after that, right? You don't think about the future right now.
If there's ever an era to turn it around quickly, Kai, like this is it, right?
Transfer portal. I'm taking a future on St. John's as soon as the market opens. Who knows if it'll be overpriced? It probably will be, but I will be taking his future. He's going to get guys there. I love that he said a lot of these players probably won't be back on this team because they're probably not a good fit for me. I love it. Frankly, I love it. Good. Yep. Clean house. Get your guys. He said Soriano's staying. That guy is like a Pitino guy, from the words of Pitino. So yeah, amazing hire. Home run.
Yeah, it's I don't know why you wouldn't. He's been great pretty much everywhere he's gone. It's certainly worth the gamble and the buyout, whatever they paid. We should also mention the Georgetown Providence triangle. Kai, it seems like Kim English is going to be the guy for Providence, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Besides media having pumped him up for years and years and years as the next big thing. His two best transfers at George Mason were guys that he had contact with from being on staffs at Colorado and Tennessee. His best player there was a leftover from the Dave Paulson era. Couldn't even finish top 4 in the worst A10 in a long, long time this year. Mm-hmm. What's the evidence he's good other than, I hope so. I hope so.
There's not. I think it's a poor hire. I could eat my words for that, but I don't understand. He has connections in the Northeast, right? He grew up there. He is clearly a likable guy from a player perspective, can get recruits there, but there's no real evidence that he's a great coach. He's had 2 seasons at George Mason, and none of them were really good. I don't think he even overachieved either season with his squads. Maybe you could argue his first year from an analytics perspective, but not last season, not by a long shot. But Jim, as Mizzou fans, we are perfectly fine with this. Go ahead. Go coach at Providence first, and let's see how you do, man. Because if you fail, you're never going to be the coach at Mizzou. If you rock, if you learn how to coach, great. Well, that's good evidence. I would feel more better about him becoming the coach eventually at Mizzou. So I'm glad he gets the free trial here.
Well, no coach ever leaves Providence. So
that's right.
Fine. That's what.
Is it a Rick Barnes thing, Jim, too? A Rick Barnes connection? Is that how you got the job, Providence?
I'm sure there's some of that as well. And I think his agent does good work. And again, like everybody goes to bat for him behind the scenes. So it seems like that's the big thing. It's going to be tough in that league if he isn't sharp right away, because the coaches are insane in that conference, between the way UConn's rolling, plus Pitino, plus Cooley, plus Mata, plus Shaka, McDermott. Villanova's got their system rolling over and over. Maybe they're on a dip now, but it's going to be difficult. You could get left out in the cold in a hurry there. Matt, let's talk ACC, where we had another dinosaur hit the road. That is Mr. Jim Boeheim. He's gone. Adrian Autry takes over, likely keeping some things consistent with the scheme. We don't know for sure if he's going to be constant 2-3 or if that's a thing of the past. Your reactions to Mr. Boeheim going the way of Roy Williams and Coach K?
Not surprised. Fun. I thought we talked this a little bit, so I don't want to belabor this, I should say. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone's gonna breathe a sigh of relief in the media who covers that program, and I think the fans were ready for a change. So I don't know how much of a change they'll see with Autry taking over Kai, but
None.
Little to none would be my guess. I don't know like what kind of defense they're gonna play, or Mike Hopkins unfortunately was probably bummed to see the way this play out, as I thought he was kind of on the successorship path, but things in Washington haven't exactly gone splendidly. So they had to turn to assistant, kind of like the whole Duke thing, right? All right, assistant tree, that didn't look very good. Okay, who's next? Well, this guy's already here. He's been here. Makes sense. We'll hire you.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on this. Who knows? He was at Syracuse since 2011, so he's been around the block for a long time with that school. Maybe he keeps Boeheim's style. Who knows? Not sure yet.
Also got to talk Damon Stoudemire to Georgia Tech, Chris
Yes.
Beard to Ole Miss. Obviously, big hires for winning. Hate to probably not fair to Stoudemire to even put him in the same sentence as Beard because it's a mega different circumstance. But Kai, we loved what he did at Pacific. Awesome job out there. Tough place to win, and he did. Got his guys to buy in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a home run for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, look, Dick Weiss, I don't know if you guys follow him out there on Twitter. He's got a lot of terrible takes. He's like 80. He doesn't really understand current college basketball, but he was giving Georgia Tech crap for this hire, assuming Damon Stoudemire was just like a pro guy coming back to the college ranks. No, he was a great coach at Pacific. He had a fantastic year. He was WCC Coach of the Year. I think this is a great hire as well, Jim. Georgia Tech, good job.
Yeah, Stoudemire. Stoudemire versus Kim English. Put those two just as a comparison. Who'd you rather have?
Stoudemire.
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
Experience on a pro bench
by a long shot.
20-some games at Pacific. I know
Mm-hmm.
Kim English won 20 years at George Mason, but every coach in the last 5-10 years has won 20 games in his second year at George Mason. Paulson did it.
Yes.
It's not super unique. So
I understand the fit's not the same, so I wasn't trying to say, hey, probably should have hired Damon Stoudemire, but I think it's an interesting comparison because it seems like their perception that they're in different classes, and I don't think that's the case.
Chris Beard to Ole Miss. Don't really want to touch on the off the court stuff because it's just a mess at this stage. We got a lot of other things to get to, but it is questionable to be hiring someone of his background. Ole Miss making it very clear that winning is important, Matthias, and they will probably win plenty under Mr. Beard.
Yep. Land Sharks got, I assume some winning will be ahead of them as they look past all the other stuff. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. So yeah, he's going to win. SEC, Big East coaches. If you don't have a good one, you're going to be left behind.
Yep, indeed. So programs still open. Texas, Notre Dame, potentially looking at Shrewsbury, Texas Tech, looking at McCasland, Cal still open, and then plenty of others in the mid-major ranks, possibly New Mexico State getting Jason Hooten. Who knows what Temple's going to do after Aaron McKee. Wichita State hired Paul Mills from Oral Roberts. Seems well-deserved. A guy off a very successful coaching tree. Going to probably get talent to emphasize the offensive end of the floor like he did at Oral Bob. I think that should rejuvenate the Shocker faithful a little bit there. I think that's a pretty solid hire.
Why did the fans not like that? Was that a real thing on Twitter or no?
I think it might have been a bit of a scarecrow where they propped it up. And I'm sure Wichita fans thought they were getting Billy Donovan. Half fan bases think they're going to get Billy Donovan or Brad Stevens.
Right.
The job opens up. It's stop being unrealistic. This is a good hire. Guy that can win.
It's a great hire. Great hire.
Yep. Tobin Anderson to Iona. We got to mention this as the darling of the conference or of the NCAA tournament, Fairleigh Dickinson. He was only there a year. Kai, let's push back against people that say he only got this job because he beat Purdue. That's silly, correct?
Yep, it's incorrect. I think Stuart Mandel on Twitter said that was the reason. No, it's not. Guys had 22 years of head coaching experience, a decade at Stack. He was 209-62 in D2, 7-time NCAA tournament maker. He was in consideration for the Iona job when Rick Pitino got it. They were looking at him already.
That's the key point right there.
Yes.
Obviously the Purdue win elevates him into legitimate top tier candidate, but the fact that they had a whole conversation and went down that dance before sort of. I mean, there's one person who tweeted this out. Everyone just basically crucified. So we're talking. We're all ganging up on one ill-informed, naive.
But
person,
no, but I
is
think
good.
a lot.
I'm here
No, a
for
lot
it.
of people assume this too, Matt. A lot of people said, "Oh, one tournament game, the guy gets a new job." That I've seen that a lot of places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The one thing I will say, he's getting the job because of all the success he had. Like they're like, okay, he's a good coach. Look at this track history. I'm not sure he actually gets it this cycle without that win. Like that is such a splash hire. Iona is like the program of the Metro Atlantic. They kind of want to win the presser after losing Rick freaking Pitino. And this makes it so easy to go to him because he has that big win. If they don't even make the tournament, if they, Merrimack is in instead of them, I don't know for sure. He's the same caliber of candidate, whether that happens or not. It's just that does give a little bit of a nudge from winning the presser standpoint.
True.
After you promoted internally, Jack Castleberry will keep things rolling there. Mike Bray not going to South Florida, interviewed, apparently did not get offered the job. Will do TV, which rules. He's going to be phenomenal on TV. I am hyped about that.
Yeah. Just one of the realest coaches out there, I think, in terms of just saying his opinion. I love it. Love it.
Yep. We will do a much longer coaching carousel pod come the off season. We'll give our coaching grades as we did last year. See if we can get controversial in that department. Probably, burn a bridge or two trying to do off season interviews, Kai. But hey, we'll do it anyways. Quick coaching or recruiting notes to mention. Providence has lost several commitments already. Very highly touted class, potentially joining Cooley at up there in the Northeast. Not going to be there. Who knows if they filter straight to Georgetown? Keep our eye on that. Louisville had a big couple of weeks here worth mentioning for our guy, Pat Taylor in the chat. 4-star center in the class of 2023, Dennis Evans headed there, and 5-star small forward Trenton Flowers in the class of 2024 headed to Louisville. So tip of the cap, Mr. Payne starting to roll things in that goes with the Sky Clark commitment that is shaky. And again, we'll do more transfer stuff in the offseason, but at least some positive momentum for the Cardinals, much needed after this year. Chris Beard already struck in the recruiting cycle, getting Rashad Marshall, 4-star center, to join his 2023 class. And league rival, Egg Bowl rival, Mississippi State brought in point guard Josh Hubbard. Oh, I hope you can shoot, Josh, because boy, do they need it in Starkville. All right, that's it for recruiting. Nothing in transfers. Again, we are going to have a Mondo portal pod, and we'll get into all the news and updates of that as the offseason goes along. But we are focusing on ball at this stage. Kai, one thing we do have to mention, St. Francis of Brooklyn, SFC, that would be St. Francis College, gone. No more a member of Division I.
Yeah.
Tough to watch. We do like when the number of Division I teams goes down for preview purposes, but it's sad to see it happen like this.
Yeah. Plus, I'm sure we'll get some new guys coming up this year at some point. As far as I understand, I think St. Francis Brooklyn was one of the founding members of the NEC, or at least been around for a long time. 4 programs to not make the Division I tournament, like them, Army, and a couple others. It's a shame, man. I think it seems like it came out of nowhere, and I don't think it's fair to coaches, players. It should have been phased out, kind of like Hartford did it, just like year by year. This seems kind of out of nowhere to me.
Yeah, good luck to the guys in the portal. Their whole roster's in there already, as it should be. Makes a lot of sense. Matt, fastest NIT check-in ever. Wisconsin and North Texas are going to the Final Four. Get excited, Vegas. You will have a 54-possession game in the semifinals. That's going to be electric. And we also get the winner of Cincinnati, Utah Valley, UAB, and Vandy. Matt, who's winning those 2 games?
I don't care. Utah Valley and Vandy.
Okay, there we go. Matt's gut opinion, thought about it long and hard, so take that to the bank. Antoine Davis feels cheated for not getting a chance to break the record, Pete Maravich's record in the CBI. He clarified, I think, on Twitter that he just felt cheated, that people were writing to the CBI to not let them in. I'm sorry. Do you think you should be in when you went 14-19? I don't.
His clarification gave me no further feeling sorry for him. I'm sorry people don't want you to break the record, but it is kind of understandable from those people's lens when it's like, hey, this guy did it in 3 years, you did it in 5. I'm not part of that group, by the way. I am part of the group that says Detroit should not be in the CBI because they're 14-19. I don't think a team has ever made the CBI with an under 500 record. There just wasn't any precedence for it.
Yeah, that's the part that if they were in there, it would have been a complete I don't know. Let's do this just for them to break the record. That would be the only reason they'd make the tournament. So,
which I'd be fine with, but there's no precedence.
I'm okay with it. Kai, we have a Reddit stat of the day regarding North Texas's success in the NIT. It also applies to our FAU Owls.
Let's do it. Small Reddit stat of the day from username Thegans. Conference USA is currently 8-0 in postseason tournaments. All teams involved will be headed to the American next season. Crazy. American shaping up to be a pretty good league there, Jim.
Yeah, UAB, North Texas, FAU, all having great runs here. The league was awesome. We were hoping for the 2-bid CUSA into the NCAA tournament pretty consistently. Fortunately, FAU dominated the CUSA title game, but it's cool to see all these teams actually showing off how good they were this year. It was not just a fluke. It wasn't just our eyes playing tricks on us. They're legit. And Kai, the crazy Reddit stat of the day.
Crazy stat of the day from the white and the blue on Reddit via Matt DeMarinis on Twitter. I've probably butchered your name. I'm sorry. As a number 6 seed in 2014, Baylor hit 11 threes and scored 85 points against Creighton to reach their second Sweet 16 in 3 years. As a number 6 seed in 2023, Creighton hit 11 threes and scored 85 points against Baylor to reach their second Sweet 16 in 3 years. The parallelism, baby. The parallelism.
Wow. It's nuts. I think there's like 2 or 3 other facts that go further on this of like their past opponent, who they played in the first round or something, like it, where it was played. It's ridiculous. It's just a complete mirror. Time is a flat circle, et cetera, et cetera.
Like
It's
Kennedy
nuts.
and Lincoln. Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln. Matt, keep up.
I have notes.
Okay. Good. All right, Kai, back to you for
Presidential notes.
We saw that.
We saw that. Tournament reaction edition. Fairleigh Dickinson. That should lead off the program. It feels like it's not being talked enough that Fairleigh Dickinson, a 16 seed, beat Purdue. And maybe that's because UMBC did it and FDU bowed out already. But I don't know. That's pretty impressive to me, Matthew. Purdue. I was just thinking about this today, actually. I was like, man, who won the Big Ten tournament? It was Purdue. Purdue won the double Big Ten championship, Big Ten regular season. A wild upset.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation is all about the Big Ten and Purdue and how they need to fundamentally blow up lay sticks of dynamite under their entire program philosophies and start from scratch, which is an overreaction to some degree, but not entirely. But yeah, that's why. It's unfair to FTU. Yeah, because that was an awesome game plan and they freaking won. And I guess he cashed in, he got his upgrade, and I hope those kids that follow him, I hope those kids that were there, Roberts and Singleton, those guys, I hope they follow him and they make hay at Iona.
I want to do this little theoretical exercise real quick because I saw it on Twitter and I thought it was funny. Somebody said, what if Fairleigh Dickinson's best player was already in the portal and accepted an NIL offer to Kentucky? Like, would people be like, wow, this guy's head was never even in it at FDU? Like, they would probably throw a bunch of mud at him. And instead, Tobin Anderson's getting like the gold star handshake. Way to go. What a job you did. Did he stab them in the back because he was only there a year?
No. And that's why there shouldn't be a sit out rule for transfers because coaches do this thing all the time.
Corey Gibson, Northwestern State, 1 year. They're awesome. And then see ya.
Austin P. Yes. We did not talk about him in the roundup.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more to get to. I didn't want to do every coach.
No, that's definitely fair. So yes, congrats to FDU. Purdue, don't fire Matt Painter. That's a great coach. I mean,
he's not getting fired.
There's 350 programs that would love to have Matt Painter as their coach. I'll say that. All right,
They're
Furman,
a young team, like they could bring everybody back. Imagine how good they could be next year. Like
Edie's
not do it.
Edie's not a guarantee to leave.
They'll be better against pressure. Like I think they could be freaking awesome next year. Very like
preseason number 1.
Similarities to the Virginia team will be made.
They need some speed. A little speed. Just get one guy in the portal. Just get like a speed demon backcourt. You got to get some speed.
I mean, they almost had Nigel Pack and instead got David Jenkins because of NIL stuff. So we'll see what they're able to pull in this year. But man, the telling like, hey, you want to come play with the National Player of the Year and a bunch of budding stars and the role players, like I think they'll be really good next year. Yep.
Yeah.
That's not really a surprise, but not take or anything.
Furman, we're happy for Bob Ritchie, man. Furman gets their first
Bob.
I think their first tournament win. I actually don't know about that one. I think it's their first one ever. First tournament since 1980, but I think it's also their first tournament win. So way to go, Bob Ritchie and the Paladins. Hey, Mizzou won a game. Jim, as Mizzou fans, we will take it. Preseason, you told us that we'd be a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, and we won the first round. take it. Don't even care that we lost to Princeton. I mean, I do, but I'll take the win.
Yeah, this is recency bias is going to feel painful thinking about that getting butts kicked by a 15 seed. Now 0-2 against 15 seeds in our lives. That stinks. But still, in the tournament, in the round of 32, the excitement from a win is going to have ripple effects throughout the program. Great crowds this year. Shout out to Mr. Gates. Fantastic first year job.
Yep.
Dennis Gates. He's our guy forever.
Don't take Caleb Love.
Don't take Caleb Love. Please don't. Princeton, who beat Mizzou, they are the third straight 15 seed to make the Sweet 16, which is starting to sound pretty wild. Matt, ironically, in maybe one of the weaker Ivy Leagues we've seen in the past decade or so, but still, I think so.
Don't agree there. It's like its highest rating in KenPom that it's had in years. And even KenPom said it's like one of the best years it's had.
I think the last
pre-tournament,
last 4 years have been like four of the best. Just the league has been really good the last 5. I think it had one down year in the last 5, but like 4 of the last 5 has just been really good. The league's gotten better, more money, better talent, and coaches are all outstanding and I think underrated typically. And we talked about this, they're tough to play outside of conference. I mean, Cornell does this thing where they just dominate everyone out of conference, right? And they go in the Ivy and it's a little tougher for them because everyone knows their stuff. You get back out of the conference, look what happens. I think there's a real thing to the Ivy's success in the tournament, no doubt.
Fair enough, Jim. Lowest seed since 2018 for an Ivy League school.
So maybe the top end of it was really deep this year. Maybe the top end wasn't quite as strong.
Deeper this year, yes. But congrats to Princeton. Duke, Matthew, sorry. See ya, Duke. They bat out early. They busted a lot of brackets. Anything to say for your Duke Blue Devils as their season ends?
No, I think my takes were all stout. I underestimated the football pads that would be applied in that game. And we probably all underestimated Tennessee. Like, I think we all looked at Tennessee as being this, like, were they your Sweet 16?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, yeah, you were one of
I bet on them.
So I think we forgot how good Tennessee was. I mean, it was like the top team in KenPom for a while. Their defense is absolutely bananas. And while they are inconsistent, they're still very good.
Matt still wants Duke favored over Houston and favored over every team but Alabama in this field.
Yeah, my takes were very right about that. It was just a bad matchup in one spot, and I overlooked that. I was thinking too far down the line, but I stand by that, Jim, and I think that's an accurate take. And my Duke takes were pretty on point for the last 5 weeks. I just kind of missed that one little hiccup there. So
the one where they didn't make the second weekend. Yes, agreed. For a top 5 team.
Yep. Well, they weren't. I was predicting they would get there, and I still think they are. By the way, they just played another top 5 team.
No, if you're Duke
actually,
well,
they
played 5,
I'd be
5. Surprised.
They played 5 versus 8 in that game too, so you have to factor that in the equation.
Would you really have Duke in your top 5 power ratings?
I think I had him like 7th at that point. Yeah, I would.
That big 2-point win over Virginia was so sound in the shorthand of Virginia. Ugh. Get out of here.
Yeah. Scott Schaefer. Just repeat Mark Mitchell. I love this take on Twitter too. Someone was like, Mark Mitchell is out. Zakai freaking starting point guard.
They're better without Ziegler. They're better without Ziegler. Yes, they are.
Why can't you be better without Mitchell? Why can't you be better without Mitchell?
Because in that matchup, you're playing a bunch of football players. Without Ziegler, they have like 6'5", 6'6". You guys know this. You're just looking, you're too anti-Duke. It's fine.
Yeah, Duke got eliminated, but it's only because of excuses. They would be in the national title vaulted free there. We would have given them a bye to the title if they beat Tennessee.
Yeah, they would have got past the other two, and that's fine. Whatever. We move on. We move on.
Tennessee's not better without Ziegler. I'm gonna move on. 3-2 against the spread without Ziegler.
Oh, They just beat a really good team.
Played Ole Miss. Played Ole Miss. Ole Miss is one of those wins against.
They beat Louisiana by 3, Matt, and they beat you by 12. Relax.
Mizzou beat him by 8. All right.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. That one doesn't equate to me.
Yeah. All right. No 12 seeds won in the NCAA tournament this year and just 1 seed. This was maybe more shocking to me than the FDU upset. Maybe that's exaggeration a little bit, but I seriously thought we'd get half the 12s and 13s winning games. And that was kind of indicative by the spreads too. Drake and Miami was a 2-point spread. But we didn't get anything, Jim. We didn't get any major 12, 13 upsets outside of Furman.
Yeah, and we were pounding the drum for how good this group of 12 and 13 seeds were. That was us. That was a lot of people given the results in conference tournaments. Drake had it, and then they let Miami off the hook, and it was kind of downhill from there. But yeah, this was surprising to see all the 5s and 4s get through, considering how we thought the talent level was so equal, basically across the sport. I was surprised. I was shocked.
Matt, a lack of drama, I ask, question mark. No buzzer beaters. Furman shot was the closest one. Also,
Basically
TCU.
was. We'll call that a buzzer beater. That was awesome. That was the highlight of the first round. And
It was the
happened too
highlight.
soon.
Yes, there's 2 seconds left. No true buzzer beaters there. TCU on a close one, FAU close one. No overtimes by my count. I can't remember an overtime game, but correct if I'm wrong, guys out there. FDU, Princeton, and Furman were the only 12 through 16 seeds to win in the first round. Do you feel cheated out of a dramatic first round, Matthew, or were you happy with the way it shook out?
It was solid. It's always good, right? You got to compare to every year in the past. I think it certainly lacked a little bit of that luster, but when you have a 16 seed winning and a 15 seed winning, I think that kind of, to me, for the purist, strikes the March Madness Cinderella chord. So I'm still here for it.
Should we be? I know every year there's like the prop of, is there going to be a buzzer beater or not? I feel like we have to take the no on that, because if it's ever close, we get the clock review for 10 minutes and they put
terrible.
0.1 or 0.2 back on. Whereas in the past, they'd been like, that was a buzzer beater, let it go. What a winner. But now there's always going to be a little stickler clock review at the end. Maybe that makes there's some value on the no buzzer beater going forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I hate that.
The reviews are so
reviews
annoying.
They're horrible. They're absolutely terrible. The refs live in their own world. The NCAA lives in their own. Whatever we say doesn't matter. It's not going to ever be heard. Like, that's why we decided to play with new balls this season. Woohoo! Here's a new fun little ball that we're going to play with this season.
Did we clarify?
Which, by the way, people
that happens every year, right?
And it's recently, I think, the last couple of years they've changed.
Okay, but it's not just this year, right?
Yeah, there's the one year it was like bright. It was like the super orange standout
terrible.
Ball. I did see Goodman also tweeted that a coach said that it feels like they're over pumped. Like it's not the actual teams themselves that are checking how pumped it is. So the ball's just like super bouncy, which makes the rims look tighter, etc. Yeah, that's not good either.
Interesting. The reviews, we don't need a review every time somebody looks like they might have gotten hit in the face. If you don't see it, it's no call, man. Like,
the announcers get caught up into it too. Like, somehow all the teams like, wow, let's look closely here. We see the elbow, get him right there on the chin. And it's like, whoa, zoom out for 1 second. No one cares. Let's just move on.
Yes.
Except for when Plastic throws actual bows, then we have to look at that because that's BS.
Well, yeah, when you have a reputation like he and Omar Payne do for actually hurting people, then okay, well, let's take a look.
Okay, let's get into the Sweet 16 here, guys. Jim, some stats from you about coaches. I'll let you take the floor here real quick.
Yeah, so we're down to the Sweet 16. We've only got one Title I among the 16 coaches combined. That is Tom Izzo all the way back in 2000, and they're a 7 seed, probably going to get a first-time winner this year. It would be surprising if we don't at this stage. And then 5 other coaches have made the Final Four. Yeah, Tom Izzo winning, that would be a kind of anticlimactic end of the year. 5 other coaches made a Final Four. I believe I need to double check this, but Rick Barnes, Mark Few, Mick Cronin, Jim Larinaga, and Kelvin Sampson have all been to the Final Four before. It's a weird group of coaches in the sense that there's just like no history. There's not like a Coach K versus Tom Izzo or a Bill Self versus Bob Huggins. Like, I tried to do coaching versus coaching, and it's like the most we've seen between coach matchups is I think 3 between a coach, the coaches that are alive here. So it's kind of shocking to see. It's fun. New names, not a great weekend for Blue Bloods, but I love it. I'm ready for this kind of new blood to be here on the biggest stage.
It's almost like no one was really ever that awesome. And so more teams had better chances of advancing. It's almost like we've said that a couple of times before, except Alabama, because at this point they might be one of those. And they might be worthy of historical.
The top 7 teams on KenPom are all in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
So maybe there are some good
KenPom
teams.
Great year for KenPom, by the way.
Very good year for KenPom.
So the fact that he has a good year almost every year.
Yeah. It's 2 1 seeds. There's two 2 seeds here, but the ones that weren't that highly ranked bowed out. There's the stat that definitely went around and got very publicized. 1s and 2 seeds that weren't ranked in the top 25 in the preseason pretty much never go far, and that was Marquette and Purdue. See ya, they're out early. So that perception of early talent level actually matters. People throw a lot of mud at preseason top 25s, and UNC being number one certainly isn't a great vouching for it, but it matters. There's some predictive value in the postseason based on
Palm's written about that.
Yeah.
He's talked about that. I've heard multiple podcasts. He's defended why he keeps his priors in for almost all of the entire year, and he's toggled with it. And he's like, no, every year I try and make it too recent. It burns me. So I think it's 100% accurate.
It's program, it's coaching, it's talent, and that permeates throughout the season. By my count, only 5. Has K-State ever won a title? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I have to check, but only 5 teams from my count have won a title in this group. So Michigan State, Arkansas, UConn, UCLA, and Houston are the 5 that have won a title. Am I wrong?
I don't think Houston ended up winning with Phi Slamma Jamma.
Did they not win the 1983 title?
I think in my preseason preview, I was like, they can enter the new fraternity. It was a little play on words that I did. I don't think they have won, but hey, I hope it's this year for Mr. Sampson and my wallet. That would be
You're
fantastic.
Right. Tournament runner up in 83 and 84.
Yeah, I lost back-to-back years, I believe.
Look at that. Okay, 4 teams have won a title. College basketball, 3-man weave. Okay. Sweetest team previews, guys. We don't need to go in detail this. We have shows on Field of 68. We have shows on Action Network that are going to really get into the nitty gritty here from a gambling perspective. From this perspective, let's just go high level. Let's pick winners here. Let's get the Elite 8, Final 4 from this group. Any thoughts you want to really throw out here? So Michigan State, Kansas State is our first game to tip on Thursday in New York City. Some narratives you're going to hear a lot. Marquise Noel is from New York City. He is Kansas State's point guard. It's going to be a big deal for them. I mean, that's going to be thrown out 100 times during that broadcast, Jim.
Tyson Walker too.
Tyson Walker's from there as well.
They Noel said today at the media, he's like, yeah, we played against each other in parks growing up, another Madison Square Garden.
It is so Tang versus Izzo, 2 great coaches. Jim, Goodman has Michigan State in the Final 4. Do you think they get past Kansas State? Do you think they make it past to the Final 4?
I hope we do not have to hear Mr. Goodman gloat based on the way he's behaving in his debate with Mr. Portnoy right now from Barstool. It's just we don't want to give him a big head. Let's keep him humble as best we can at this point. I think Kansas State gets by here. Surprising that they're an underdog just from a betting perspective. They've got the 2 best players on the floor between Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel. I know AJ Hogard can turn it up at times. Joey Hauser's been a great matchup nightmare for opponents. Michigan State hasn't shot the ball very well, and yet they're still here. Their 2-point percentage defense has been elite in the tournament, which kind of harkens back to what we've seen from Izzo teams and like half a decade ago when they were just dominant in that statistic. I just think Kansas State's got a little too much shot making, a little too much dynamism, a little too much mojo going for them right now. I'm riding with Marquise Noel, Matthew, and his speed beating pick and rolls. I compared it on Sirius XM to when you have a fast quarterback in Madden, you just back up until everybody's chasing you, and then you go around them. And that's basically what he did to beat Kentucky's trapping against pick and rolls. He'd back up to half court, go around him, then it's 5-on-3, and he'd lob for a dunk or he'd get a little floater or something. He's kind of a cheat code. I know Izzo will prepare for him, but Tang is no slouch. I like K-State.
I like K-State too. One concern here, is there like a 10% chance, Kai, all this hype, Marquise Noel going back home, bright lights, big stage, Izzo going against his old park buddy and Tyson Walker, that the old Marquise Noel we saw, Little Rock, 9 turnovers a game.
No. He's from New York, man. He's from New York.
10% chance doesn't show up to so we're so sure he's going to go for like 35 and dish out 8 and just go behind back. All right, I buy it because that's what he thinks Kentucky. I have no reason to believe he won't. Got this weird feeling that maybe there's some.
Maybe he starts slow. Maybe there's nerves and he makes a terrible pass trying to set a highlight early. But I've got pretty solid faith that as the game rolls on, he's going to get in his groove.
I think a key theme here, this is a microcosm of the number of mid-major up transfer guards that had success this season under really good coaches. And I think it's going to set a precedent where you'll see a lot more people take swings on mid-major guards. And then we'll stop questioning, can they play at this level? If you're going to get coached in a good system and it fits with what Walker's done, with what Noel, makes absolutely no sense. And they're not the only 2 examples. There's a lot of other examples out there too.
Noel had a good year last year too, though. Like he wasn't a nobody. Wasn't he like honorable mention Big 12?
Yeah, he was really good last year.
He was good under
yeah,
Weber.
he was solid. I'm saying even before last year when he came, like just before he came to Kansas State, he was on a disastrous Little Rock team. He was kind of
we
a
had
head
doubts
case
about
before.
him coming in for sure. Absolutely, I certainly
Walker from Northeastern Colonial. Yeah, we had doubts. Everyone had doubts. You're right to have
I
doubts.
thought Walker was going to be actually a little bit better than he is right now, personally, because
Yeah.
I thought he was just awesome at Northeastern. Yeah, let's stick in the East region here. The East region. So the other game here, Florida Atlantic, Tennessee. Do you guys have this thing? I don't know if I'm weird. I like upsets in the early rounds, but I like teams that deserve it to make the Final Four in my head. Like, is this team deserving of a Final Four? And I felt in the year 2019, when we went to the Final Four in Minnesota, it was a weird group. Like Texas Tech, Auburn. I didn't think those teams really belonged. And I know that's kind of hard to say. But like the West has UConn and Gonzaga and UCLA, Final Four teams. This one, Michigan State, K-State, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. I'm not sure any of these teams really feels like a Final Four team to me, Jim, but I digress. Tennessee, FAU, what do you think?
Man, you elitist front runner, you.
The one I feel most deserves it is FAU. They won their league regular season and tournament. They've been thoroughly dominant all year. The only thing they've dropped are a couple of really tough road games in league play, and also to Ole Miss, I think, like second game of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I like FAU. I think they pull off the upset. I know we just kind of went to bat for Tennessee and beat the drum against them for them against Duke, but they've got more spacing, more shooting than Duke does. They can spread out that really physical defense. They don't have to go through it and kind of try to hit it with a hammer. They can go over the top and stress them out. We've seen teams do that. Mizzou, especially being the kryptonite for Tennessee this year with actual shot making. I think FAU's got a real chance there. There has been a lot of attention on the officiating from the Tennessee Duke game. So I'm sure Dusty May with his rugby comments, just trying to get in a little worm in the refs' ears of, I don't want this to become a brawl. I don't want people to complain about how this is officiated. So maybe you get a little tighter whistle. FAU's got pretty solid depth. I kind of buy it, Matt. I kind of buy our Owls getting the upset there.
Oh, I do too. I think, and by the way, it's turned Tennessee Twitter into like a bunch of mental pretzels. Like who's their lead beat reporter? Rucker or something?
Wes Rucker, yeah.
God, insufferable stuff. Like,
just cannot admit that Plotzek is dirty. Can't do it.
Just own it. You have Majeski had the best take, right? You have a Bill Lambier. That's awesome. Like every point, everyone in Detroit reveres that bad boys team because of who they were. Like, just own it. That'd be way cooler. Now Tennessee feels like, in my opinion, this like excuse making, almost like the Arkansas fans were, where they really, butthurt about how people covered them last year and they made their run and it was kind of fluky, whatever. I have all my chips in the FAU basket, as everyone knows. I've just leveraged and taken a huge loan out with more chips because I just don't like this Tennessee team whatsoever. I think FAU wins. A small part of me feels like Tennessee kind of manhandles them. Very, very, very small part of me, but I'm not going to look at that part. I'm going to ignore that part.
So you're taking FAU
that
as
part
well.
deep down, way down. Don't acknowledge it.
Look away. Bottle it up.
I'm going FAU also, baby. I'm going FAU. I had in my bracket, and I'm going with FAU here as well. All right.
Then who wins? K-State FAU.
Yes, K-State FAU. God, if K-State made the Final Four with Tang, like from our preseason takes here, it would
I know, worst take. The absolute worst takes for us.
I'm going FAU God. Final Four, boys. FAU.
I love it.
I'm taking K-State. I think they're just on a mission. Two elite players, and the role players are playing well enough, well coached. I would love to see FAU though. Heart is all for this region. My heart is 99.8% FAU, and then 0.2% undecided, I guess.
Yeah, I'm taking FAU. There's a quote from Rosado, Giancarlo Rosado, who's FAU's feels like their ninth best player. No, he's been one of their best players lately. He goes, "Yeah, when I walk out on the floor, I'm there to serve my brothers. I'm here to serve." And he just has that big, burly, Boris Diaw body looking at the reporter. I'm like, I'm going to war with that guy all the way. FAU Final Four, stone cold lock.
Oh, all those guys. John L. Davis, his interview was awesome after the game. Yeah. Give me FAU. All right, let's go.
Wait, did you guys see Boyd after the Memphis game? Sorry, Kai.
No, go ahead.
His interview.
God,
they asked him
Waterworks.
What's it mean when Dusty May smiles at you guys in every huddle, and he started tearing up and was like, I don't know where I'd be without this guy. I love him.
Wow.
I love to see that player unity with the coach. It's beautiful.
I had a few tears, Jim. It's tough.
Yeah. So we're clearly up right now. We're Al boys here. We're Al boys. Huge. I'm tearing up because my lights are starting to really bother me, because I've been in Vegas for a freaking week and I can't sleep. Okay. Counterclockwise, West region. the best region by far. One of the best regions of all time. Jim gets to go to these games in person in Vegas. How lucky. We got Arkansas, UConn. We got Gonzaga, UCLA. Jim, we'll start with UConn or Arkansas. All I have to say is, Dan Hurley, don't you freaking let me down. Yeah, I got a future stick on them, but more importantly, I don't like Arkansas. I don't like Musselman. I'm tired of him coming back as down double digits. I'm tired of it. They don't play well as a team. Come on, UConn. I got you.
Slam the door. If you get up on Arkansas, you got to slam the door. It's important. Also, I am lucky, yes, but you all had the option of staying in Vegas for 2 weeks like I did. You could have attended this thing. Couldn't get you to twist your arm and stay out that long. Got a fantastic region here. Arkansas, UConn, two teams of oodles and oodles and oodles of talent that I'm not always sure is mega fully optimized. Arkansas's got the Nick Smith question marks where he's been basically a zero for them, especially last game. He was literally a zero in the scoring column. UConn got awesome play from Newton and Hawkins, got really good perimeter shooting. They're pretty unstoppable when that happens. Arkansas does a great job of running you off the line. Credit to them. Like they know they can't shoot, so they don't want to get outmatched by teams launching away from deep. But UConn can beat them up inside with Sonogo. He was such a bully against St. Mary's, like actually rude to like Saxon, just nudging him out of the way and then laying it in. So I think I lean UConn there to win. I've gone back and forth with like spread type stuff. I think it's kind of ugly given the way the two can defend each other. So I lean towards an under, Matt, but I'm going to pick UConn as the winner to advance to that Elite Eight.
Yeah, I'm taking UConn. I think Arkansas, like Kansas is obviously really good. But I think UConn's like categorically more talented and more physically imposing. And that's what Arkansas exerted to will to kind of grind out and get that win against KU, right? It was the ugliest comeback win you'll ever see. But like you felt the size and talent almost gap between Arkansas and Kansas, which is crazy to say versus, 8 seed versus 1 seed, but that's just kind of what Arkansas is. I don't think you feel that with UConn. I think UConn just kind of is everything Arkansas is, but just better. Hats off though to Musselman, man. The way they defensively, they just worked. I mean, God, for Nick Smith and Anthony Black to be basically non-existent and to get a Devo Davis explosion, and Anthony Council continues.
Davis went nuts.
He always just, I don't know what it is. It just seems to find guys that rise at the right moments, which is so cliche and feels so like just positive, fortunate variance. But I'm going to tip my cap so the entire SEC doesn't hate me, as I've probably pissed off all the Tennessee Nation. I'm going to try and lend an olive branch to be in the good graces of Pick Suey Nation, Kai. So well done, Arkansas. No, I'm going UConn. Sorry. Okay. I just want to be, I'm impressed by Arkansas so far.
Who gets a technical first, Dan Hurley or Devo Davis?
Maybe they'll shove each other on the sideline and we'll have a offsetting technicals.
Interesting. Ted Spencer in the chat. Arkansas better coached.
I think I agree.
I agree with that. Oh yeah, I agree with that.
I guess I'll agree with that too.
I feel very confident about that actually.
Arkansas's plan down the stretch against Kansas was really good. Just like getting a switch, attacking 1v1 with Davis or Council, and then having a big man on a guard on the offensive glass.
Simple, right?
It's almost like
he plays matchups very well. Very NBA type coach, Musselman.
Well, I'm confident in saying Musselman's a great in-game adjuster because I don't know how else you explain all the comebacks. Maybe he's just a terrible pregame coach, though, because his teams always start off in the hole. It's like, we have no game plan at all. We're just going to adjust.
Yep.
We're going to take your best shot, and then we're going to come back.
They look like against zones. God, just incompetent at times. Jeez.
Yeah. Coach
all right. So we got Gonzaga, UCLA guys, and of course, and Jets Pete, appreciate it here. Yes, a rematch of one of the greatest college basketball games I think anyone has seen. We watched it. I believe we watched it at Houndstooth. Is that right? Fellas, I
was at the Westgate Sportsbook here.
I was with you Houndstooth, guy. Yes, I was.
Houndstooth in Chicago. This is it because it was during it was 2021, right? When COVID was still like a thing. We couldn't go to the Final Four. Yeah. Timmy, Jaquez, Campbell, they're all still on the team from that matchup. It's obviously a heavyweight battle here, Matthew. Gonzaga points, UCLA defense, but also they can score. UCLA's banged up. Gonzaga, not the best defensive team. Who do you think wins?
Well, UCLA has like 3 players right now, right? Just with Bona's injury and Singleton's injury and Clark's out, and it's like they're really grasping. But those 3 are really good: Jaquez, Campbell, and Bailey. And they've single-handedly willed the Bruins to the win over Northwestern. I'm obviously right with my Zags because this is the whole you forgot about us and we were sort of slept on thing. And I think they passed the big boy toughness test, Jim, against TCU, and they proved it to themselves and they quieted the other doubters out there. So, I know that no Lampkin, I get that, but TCU's identity is grit and grind to a degree. I like that. I like that notch on the belt heading into the UCLA bout. No,
I think it's important they came from behind and were able to ward off TCU's rim attack, the onslaught, but TCU ran with them. TCU played a 77 possession game with them, probably 73 before the final minute of fouling. UCLA is not letting them get there, I don't think. I think that's going to be a grind, and that's what I haven't really seen Gonzaga do. I think people point to, look what they did to St. Mary's. This is a different caliber of athlete that UCLA has here, especially if Bona is playing. I think he's going to. Sounds like he and Singleton are day today. Singleton looked good walking to the bus, walking in a straight line. Who knows what he's going to do cutting and shooting wise, but he's got another day to figure it out. They need his shooting, I think, to space the floor around Campbell, Bailey, Jaquez. But if they get enough minutes from Singleton and Bona, I'm taking UCLA. I just think the slowdown is something that Gonzaga has not dealt with well in the postseason. Arizona, running the same system, has not dealt with it well in the postseason. I'm going to go with UCLA, Kai.
I'm going Zags. Pure heart. I don't like their defense, but I like Drew Timme a lot. I don't think he has a really matchup capability on the other end. I think Jalen Clark's absence matters a lot for UCLA against Gonzaga. I think the Zags can just outscore them. I'm really rooting for the Zags here. I want the world to be proven wrong on Gonzaga. I want to see them be successful, guys.
I have a weird take.
If Timmy makes a crossover step back three through his legs, they're going to win. So that was ridiculous.
That shot was incredible against TCU. All right, so who's coming out of the West? My bracket says, Matthew, Gonzaga for me. Ultimately gets there.
Gonzaga. Just a quick final thought on that matchup, not to belabor it. I think UCLA is actually better in transition than they are in the half court, but they don't have enough depth around the Gonzaga, and running with Gonzaga is a terrible idea. So it's kind of like this weird conundrum that UCLA is in. I had the Zags winning this game and coming out of this region.
I have UCLA winning the region and beating UConn in the final 8. Cutting down the nets on Saturday. Jim flies out at 5 a.m. on Sunday. Can't wait.
Ooh, get some good pics to the Instagram, please. Get some content out there.
Kai, I'm gonna pump out the content.
Content. Like a freaking horse jockey whipping you two around the track with Instagram. Okay, Midwest. Here we go. Especially Matthew. It's like herding cats. Midwest. We got Miami, Houston. We got Xavier, Texas, Miami, Florida. Man, how about Jim Laranaga's last 2 tournaments? Golly, guy can't do no wrong. Second straight Sweet 16, looking for his second straight Elite 8. Am I wrong? Did he make the Elite 8 last year? He did.
Yep. We were there, Kai.
We were there in Chicago. Yes. They got Houston though. Jim, I love Houston. I've loved them all year. I picked them to win the championship at the beginning of the year. I'm picking them again. I like what I saw in the second half of Auburn. It seems like Sasser's doing okay. Come on, Kelvin Sampson. Let's go Cougs.
Yeah, I think it's sneaky huge for them that they have a Friday game rather than Thursday. Just the whole extra 24 hours for Sasser's groin, for Shedd's knee. Get that sorted out. They won against a decent Auburn team with Mark being the star, and Jarris Walker really didn't do that much. Sasser hit a couple of huge threes in that second half run, but that showed off some of the depth that I think is really impressive for Houston that maybe we forgot about. Some people forgot about it as they bludgeoned teams from the American. They still got 3 fantastic guards, and Sharp is really emerging as the fourth one off the bench. You got an army of 6'7", 6'8" big men that just attack you constantly on the glass, get them second shots. Jalen Roberts is getting better and better attacking in isolation in like the mid post. I think they get O'Meara in foul trouble in this game, attacking with Walker and Roberts. And Miami falls apart when he's off the floor. He was fantastic against Indiana. Spread wise, I think it's a tad high for how good the Miami guards are, but I think Houston wins, gets one step closer, Matthew, to the Houston homecoming in the Final Four.
Yeah, I still am. I can't ignore that first half against Auburn. I know the second half was awesome, but man, it was the tough first half. I think Houston, they're still prone to these lulls. I guess I'll pick them to win. I still like Texas coming out of this region, though. Like I like Texas quite a bit more than Houston at this point. We'll get there.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a Houston guy, man. I think the physicality is going to really get to Miami. Just got to hope that their guards aren't hitting shots over the top. It's the only way Miami.
Listen to your take
takes
here,
tough.
Kai. Keep going.
Okay. Thank you, Matthew. Matt's always up and doing stuff during the podcast. He's so important. He has stuff to do, Jim. We're just not, we don't understand.
It's out there. Oh,
We're
I
not on
got
his
food
level.
delivery, a lot of yada, yada, yada. All right,
Yeah, whatever.
let's move on.
Xavier, Texas. Sean Miller. I love him. He's a much better coach than Rodney Terry, in my opinion. Ooh, shots fired. I don't think Rodney Terry's a bad coach. I just think I trust Sean Miller more at this point. However, Texas looks like the real deal. I cannot argue with how much talent they have, how good they've looked the last couple of weeks. Their guard play is certainly to be something to be reckoned with. And at times, they have looked like a top 5, maybe even better team in the country, certainly in this tournament. Jim, what are your thoughts on this game?
This version of Texas scares me with how good Disu has been of late, giving them more of an interior presence on both ends of the floor, and not just on a per minute basis. He's been better. He's playing 26 minutes a game. It's given them like real conventional size. They're not as reliant on Bishop. He's more of a, fill in the blanks guy off the bench. Rice, Hunter, Carr give you 3 capable creators. I think Rice is probably the one I trust the most at this stage, but Carr has been really good in flashes. Xavier's just got a problem guarding guys off the bounce. The defense hasn't really been there all season. I know it's tightened up some, but Kennesaw really exposed a lot of the cracks until Xavier really buckled down late. And I don't think you can flip the switch against Texas. That's dire. That's dangerous. I think Miller does have the edge, Matthew, in terms of a coaching perspective, but Texas has got the talent, the experience, the edge right now. I'm just going to continue riding with the Longhorns here, man.
Yeah, it's tough I think Terry's done a really solid job. It's hard to really say either way. Like, I think it's a dumb debate because it feels like a team on autopilot right now with the way that whole roster is coming together. I mean, how many times have I said Dylan Disu's name like the last 2 years? I think I got sick and tired of talking about Texas and saying his name. Like, it became redundant and annoying. And now, lo and behold, he is the key to their run. And I think he completely alters their ceiling. I'm riding with Texas here. I think they roast X off the dribble. I think this game goes way over too. I think it's a super high scoring shootout.
Jack Nungy, in my opinion, is actually a matchup issue for Texas. I don't think he gets enough credit. He's a legit 7 foot. The dude can shoot. He's pretty good in the post as well. That's my only matchup advantage I have for Xavier in this game. Of course, they can shoot. Great equalizer. But I do think Texas wins this game. So that sets up, I think, consensus-wise, Houston versus Texas in the Elite Eight for us. I'm going Houston once again, like I have all season. Matthew, you're going a different direction, though.
Yeah, Texas. Do you think so? Bama 1, Houston 2, Texas 3 would probably be your top 3 rankings of teams left in the field now? Or
no, yeah, I think so.
No, UConn. I think UConn's third best team, but yeah, you can choose how you want.
I would go
with that top 3, Matt. Yep.
I would go Bama 1, Texas 2, Houston 3, Gonzaga 4, UConn 5, and then there's a little bit of a drop off.
You don't think Texas is going to have an issue with Houston?
No. They can now. They certainly can now. Have you seen Jabari Rice? Just look like a fireball thrower out there. I think he's the best shooter on the floor in that game.
He's the only shooter.
Pat's point in the chat. Who do you want on 48 hours turnaround? Calvin Sampson or Rodney Terry?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, we'll see if the coach thing comes back to bite Texas. Maybe I've overlooked that, as that's been like a criticism we've had, or a reasonably skeptic eyebrow raise from us. But man, like, look what they've done wrong the last few weeks. Nothing. I think it's an autopilot team that not even a bad coach or even an average coach can mess up at this point.
Oh, that's why I rank them third. I just think Houston is that good and has the better coach. So I'll ride with Houston. I think the backcourt's better than Texas's, and trust the front court a little more. Trust the system. Trust the coach. Give me Houston.
Well said. All right, final region, guys. The South, Alabama, top overall seed, still in it. They're playing San Diego State. The Aztecs are the only Mountain West team that have done well in this tournament. Every single other team bowed out and did not cover in their first round game. Creighton is playing Princeton in the world's first 6 versus 15 matchup. How about that? Wow. Unprecedented, this matchup here. We'll start with Bama and San Diego State. Jim, I have said on the Action Network podcast, I will say it again tomorrow on Field of 68. I just don't think San Diego State has the ability to beat Alabama because they succeed by being the better athletes and being the more physical team in their matchups usually works, is not against Alabama.
Tide's going to do what the Tide do, and that is roll. I think
Yes.
Alabama rolls here early in the week. I think I was kind of talking myself into San Diego State hangs around and punches with them with their athletes. I just think San Diego State's going to have an absolute like bear of a time scoring. Like their offense does not leave me feeling warm and fuzzy at all, particularly down the stretch. It's a lot of late shot clock stuff where they're just shooting over tough defenders, and the defenders about to get a lot better than anything they've ever seen. Longer, more physical, more athletic. Good luck to them here. I like the way Alabama has tweaked their rotation, their starting lineup. Quinterly into the starting lineup, way less Jaden Bradley, a lot more Noah Gurley, so they're playing even bigger. And they're 5-0 against tournament teams since that change, winning by 19 plus in every single game. They're just rolling over. I think they continue to do it here, maybe not a 20-point win, but 12-ish. I think they're the better team, and especially assert it in the second half, Matthew.
Right. I echo all the same points. I'll play a little slight devil's advocate here, as I feel like I'm an Aztec fan. I'm annoyed that no one's brought in to fourth that our team's really deep, like Parrish and Ladie and Psycho and A-Rop off the bat. I mean, like they're a really deep team too. And they actually have some perimeter speed that I think can actually, at least be a neutralizing perimeter bout against Bama. It's still Bama for me, but I wonder that I've missed some of the assets that the Aztecs present, Kai.
Can you play Trammell in this game, Matt? I feel like with the way Bama likes to ISO to start their offense, like he's going to get picked on a little. He's quick, but it's going to be tough for him to keep Quinterly and those guys in front.
It's kind of like, so it's similar to my take on Tennessee, where I said they're better without Ziegler. I probably don't. I'm being too far. I think they're longer, tougher to penetrate with size on the perimeter. And so if you're playing Trammell and Butler at the same time, I think Trammell can't get picked on in that. I just go more size, right? You play Parrish and Johnson and Seiko and A-Rop more. Just try and kind of pack it in and park the bus.
I hope Alabama comes out of this region, because the other three teams, in my opinion, are the same thing I said about the East. Not a Final Four team. Alabama, I think, takes care of business against San Diego State. Creighton, Princeton. It's a big spread, Matt. I took Princeton plus 10 against the spread, but I think Creighton wins this game. Kalkbrenner, you could argue, is a matchup problem for Princeton, and also maybe if Tosan plays the 5 on offense, maybe advantage for Princeton on that end. Princeton's so well coached, so tough to prepare for with the way they play offense. But McDermott's great. Creighton is very, very good, obviously. I think the Cinderella story finally ends here. What do you think?
Jays for me, but I think it's an ugly game. I think Princeton replicates that formula that we saw against Arizona. Now I know the styles are not the same, but I think they do make this a low possession game, and they keep they make Creighton make jump shots. Excuse me. The underrated part about Princeton, Jim, has been how good they've been on the boards. So it's been a big part of why they've been able to score on offense. They've gotten a lot of second chance points, kickouts, and supplemental stuff, which you're not getting that against Creighton. But I also don't think they let Creighton get any second chance points of their own. So it will come down to first shot offense. Creighton's more skilled, more talented. They win, but it's not by, I don't think it's by a substantial margin.
Yeah, this is the first time Princeton's playing someone who is like, sure, we'll play in the half court. Bring it. Like we can out execute you here. We thrive defensively, putting you into mid-range situations and either letting you trying to drive at Kalkbrenner or shoot over the top of him, or like I said, shoot from 15 feet. Langborg looked okay doing that. Alako looked okay doing that against Mizzou. They got him into that range and they hit a couple jumpers, but I think Creighton will do a better job contesting those than Mizzou's 200th ranked defense or whatever the heck it ended up this year. Rather frustrating. And Creighton's they've got multiple different playmakers. Kalkbrenner's going to be the best big on the floor, even with Tosan out there. I like Creighton here, Kai. I think the ceiling is high. Spread is dicey. Like I think I could go either way on that, but I like Matt. I think it's gross. So the under and Creighton moves on.
Creighton, Alabama, guys. Who you got? I'm sticking with the Tide. Again, I think they're the most deserving and the only deserving teams left in the South. Jim.
Yep, I like Alabama to move on as well. Question: why isn't there some big firestorm at Alabama's assistants for not being focused, since two of them have taken other jobs already? We've got Hodgson going to Arkansas State, Henry going to Georgia Southern. Oh man, these guys are stabbing Alabama in the back, and they're recruiting for other schools while they're preparing for the tournament, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, Because nobody knows they did that, Jim.
Yep. Nobody. Yeah. It's not as mainstream. And so they can't throw their hands up and complain about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. Alabama to the Final Four, Matthew.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Bama puts the Aztecs and the Jays away handily, like, man, that's doesn't guarantee anything to have in the Final Four, but deserves a medal. And the Matt Cox Medal of Impressiveness, because those are two tough teams that present real challenges that people, many of whom had top 15 upside preseason. Jim, back to your whole preseason take and what's predictive and going far in this field, and both are playing to that. I still think it's Bama.
Let's do a reset. Final Four, guys, since we have the Sweet 16 established now. I still have 3 in my Final Four. Bracket. Alabama, Houston, Gonzaga, I'm sticking with, and I'm adding FAU from the East for my Final Four. I still got Houston over Bama. Jim.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Houston over Bama. Had that for a while. Not going to change it. Maybe I thought about going Bama over Houston, but I'm gonna stick loyal to my Cougars. And then I have UCLA, which I should have gone with over TCU. I'm an idiot. I thought about switching it late. Stayed stubborn with my Horned Frogs like a moron. So UCLA to the Final Four, and then I picked Kansas State. But my heart wants FAU. But final stays the same, Matt. No change there for me. Houston over Bama.
I had Houston over Gonzaga in the title game, so I guess I'm revising.
You do not.
And taking,
That's impossible.
I have
You mean Alabama?
No, sorry. Houston and Gonzaga in the Final Four matchup.
Wait, I thought you had Texas. You said Texas out of this region repeatedly.
God, I'm getting there, boys. Relax. That's what I had initially. I am revising that to have Texas versus Gonzaga. So I have Texas coming out of the Midwest. I have Gonzaga coming out of the West. And I had Duke because that was the right pick. Obviously, I'm going with FAU because that's the more fun and just obvious pick. Let's go Owls. Come on, Dusty. Dust him up. And then in the South, it's Roll Damn Tide.
And who's your title?
Roll Damn Tide over Houston. I did take Houston initially. I'm going to change to Alabama. So flip-flop Central for Matty Cox.
Do you see why we're confused a little bit? Because you just took Texas over Houston.
Took Texas in the region.
Oh, sorry.
And then now you have
You're
Houston.
Right. Okay, I understand. I have Texas beating Gonzaga in my revised title, in that revised Final Four matchup, and then Alabama beating Texas in the title game after Alabama beats FAU. Good. The Owls run that.
Okay. Little Alabama-Texas connection.
My brain makes sense there. I can handle that.
Not a football guy, but didn't Alabama's OC coach for Texas now?
Yeah, and Alabama
right?
played Texas last year, beat them by like 1 in Austin.
Sarkisian, okay. Yep. Anyways, all right, that does it for the 3-Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Guys, really appreciate you joining us. We'll be back next week to talk Final Four before we jet set off to Houston to hang out with the media bigwigs and get on the court and do all kinds of funny videos for you that you guys just love and eat up. Till then, have fun, enjoy the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. Good luck to your specific team, your bracket, your bets, etc. See you next week.